Coach, just kind of from your eyes, kind of talk about what happened those last few minutes. You're up 2 scores, and then they make a few plays. That second to last drive kind of fizzles out, and then they have the big play to kind of finish it off.
Well, I think credit goes to Oregon. I think they played a tough 60-minute football game. I think that's where it starts, and the Cougs win together, the Cougs lose together. I think that was the message kind of there in the locker room, and it wasn't just one thing. It was them out executing us in the fourth quarter and didn't come away with the win. Defensively, it was a culmination of all day. It wasn't just one thing. We didn't have an opportunity to rush the passer and to affect the quarterback, and we didn't make the plays in the secondary to do it. And the screen interception. I mean, what are you going to say? They made the play. We didn't make the play. So sure, you'd love to have that one back, but at the end of the day, they made the plays down the stretch and we didn't. And we give credit to Oregon.
I know I'm sure you don't want to play the silver lining or moral victories game, but I mean, in terms of
there's no moral victory. Okay, we accept this loss. They beat us. This is 2 good football teams going at it. I think we proved that we're a good football team. Okay, and if we won this game, it wasn't going to be an upset. We're a good football team, and I'm excited about the men in that room, and they're disappointed, right, because we didn't make the plays to win the game. But that was it. It was 2 good football teams playing, and they executed better at the end to win the game.
Oregon obviously a lot of big plays through there. What do you sense in kind of the coverage lapses, or what makes them trickier to defend on offense?
I thought they did a good job of coaching. I thought they protected well. We couldn't affect them, and they had some good schematics to roll out one way and throw it back across the field, and we didn't execute at all. And we didn't do good enough, and I didn't do a good enough job adjusting. Right, that's on me. I'll own that. But I think it'll be a tough learn come Monday morning. And I think our guys are mature enough to come and respond. Especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, this isn't going to sit well, and they're going to be hungry to come in and get better and learn from this. So we're thin. We're thin in the secondary, and, I think Hicks played his tail off, and then Sammy gave it all out there, and those guys played 90-some snaps of ball or whatever it was. So, but we got to get it cleaned up, and it starts with me.
Initially, what do you take away from what you saw from the protection with it, what you saw from Cam Ward and then also his protection?
I think you saw the best of Cam Ward today. I did. I thought the O-line did a good job. I really did. I think there was times when he couldn't get through all of his progression, but I thought we, kept him upright for the most part. But then he has magic with the ball in his hand. And I think, that 4th down play was unbelievable. He was gritty. He was tough. He got hit. I give a lot of credit to the whole offense, man. I thought they were sharp today. I thought they played tough. We got to be able to run the ball a little bit better to have a balance, and every time we ran it, we got a little bit behind the chains, but we kept scratching and clawing, and I think you saw that all the way to the end. There's no quitting this team, and that's what I'm excited about. That's why I'm proud to coach them. But at the end of the day, I thought Cam, made some really, really good plays, and, sometimes we can't get through our progressions to take the ball down the field, and I thought Coach Morris, we threw it all out there. 3 trick plays. We hit on all 3 of them. Just excited about, what we did on that side of the ball, and those guys should be proud.
Coach, those first 4 red zone, defensive stands. What did you see from your defense in those first 4 defensive stands there in the red zone?
Well, I think it's big. I mean, it's something we talked about coming in, but we just couldn't sustain that. And we talked about at halftime. It was still a situation where they were getting big chunk yards on us to get down there, but our guys have a heart and a passion. If you give them an inch to defend, they're gonna defend that inch. And I think that's something that's built within those guys, and they care about each other, and they made some big plays when they had to, and kept us in this football game early. We just couldn't sustain it through 4 quarters.
Coach, building off that question, I know you're saying there that you couldn't sustain it. Do you think that kind of took a toll on the defense to have to step up so many times in the first half?
Well, like I said, being a defensive guy, it's always a double-edged sword, right? You have your opportunities. I don't even know if we got them to 3rd down in the first half, right, until we got down to the red zone. So there was some run-fit execution. There was some pass-fit execution, that they have to do a better job of getting themselves off the field, right? So credit goes to Oregon. They made the plays. I thought their scheme was fantastic. And, I think over the course of the game, it just wore on us a little bit, but they had 77 plays, we had 73. So I think you look at it that way, and I think both defenses were reeling and on their heels, and that's a credit to Oregon.
The first half, the refs lost track of how many downs there were, and they moved it right to third down, and then they realized they made a mistake and gave you guys the ball back. We've never seen anything like that before. I'm just wondering what your view on that was and if you got any kind of explanation for it.
Well, we knew the down was wrong. We told them. I think they said they were going to review it, but they let the play run. But I give them credit for even after we punted. I don't know if I've ever seen that. After a possession, to come back and run the play, they got it right. They were dedicated to get it right. They admitted their mistake, and we moved on. I was disappointed in the moment. I told them to review it, right? So they got it corrected. It messed with the flow of the game and how we'd call that situation. But at the end of the day, we got it right.
Jake, it seemed like you did pretty much everything right for the first 55 minutes, and then the last 5 minutes, nothing went right. How disappointing is that? I know loss is disappointing, but how disappointing is that when you seem to control everything for as long as you did, and then all of a sudden the trap door opens and nothing's right?
Well, I think it hurts. And I think there's going to be great learns from this. I got a lot of kids that are disappointed in there, but they should be really proud of the way they played and the way they fought. But sometimes you got to win big football games. You got to execute in the biggest moments, and Oregon did, and we didn't, right? And that's what it comes down to. So you got to make a choice, right? And my choice is to keep believing and to keep going and to come back to work. I'll be in early tomorrow to find the solutions, and I'm going to get it to these guys, and they're going to respond with resiliency. That's what we've talked about for a long time. We lost to a good football team, okay? But we are a good football team, and we got to go prove it. But it'll sting for a while, and sometimes those scars are good for young people, right? So you don't go out and make that mistake the next time we get in this situation. So that's my hope, and that's going to be my mindset coming back in tomorrow.
Just your perspective on the fans today and how loud it was and what they were able to do for your football team.
Yeah, I thought our fans did a great job. I'm just so appreciative of them spending their hard-earned money to come out here and to support this football team, and that means a lot to us. Okay, it means a lot to those guys. Okay, the moment that they came out of the tunnel, they felt it. It creates an energy that I think is really, really special. And I thank Cougs fans everywhere. And if they weren't here, I know they were yelling at their TVs somewhere in America. So it was pretty special. The students were great. It was loud. They were into it for 60 minutes, and it was fun to be a part of.
Time for a few more. Coach, we talked about earlier this week that Oregon's offensive line have had not given up a sack of Bo Nix all week long. What did you see up close maybe that was just so difficult in getting to him?
Like I said, I think it's two parts, okay? Their scheme gets the ball out, right? When they throw it down the field, they always max protect him. I think he's a great athlete. And I think those guys are good. They're good. And I feel like we've been playing against these guys for the last 3 years. So they're a veteran group. They play hard. They're physical. They're well taught. I mean, there's a lot of things that goes to credit to Oregon and their coaching staff, and that's what good teams do.
Yeah, you spoke about some of the disappointed kids. What exactly do you tell those people that are disappointed?
I tell them to trust the process. That we're not going to waver, that we're not going to change our demeanor, we're not going to panic, we're going to keep believing in each other. And adversity, you always have a choice, right? And we choose to let it bond us closer together. And that's what I'm excited about this team and the makeup of it, and that's what leadership's about.
Coach, big night tonight for Robert Farrell. Do you foresee him becoming a more involved part of our game plan moving forward?
Yeah, I think Rob, being out, there's a conditioning factor, too, to how much he can play, So it's not just the foot thing, it's getting his legs right, but he's fast, he's explosive, and he's down the field, and we'd love to get him back in the return game, really getting him going. So I'm excited for what Rob has done, and he's given us a nice little spark and allowed to keep people fresh, and now we feel like we got him over that hump. We're going to expand, hopefully, our offense and get guys in different spots, and he definitely gives us some much-needed depth at the wide receiver position.
Two more.
Coach, obviously a disappointing loss, but what do you think are some positive key takeaways that you can go into, like you said, coming into this next practice week to fix and maybe adjust going forward?
Well, I think there's always positives, and sometimes through the disappointment, the positives are tough to find, but the Coug grade was great today, and I thought those guys did a good job of finding ways to keeping the chains moving and making some big plays in space. We came in to this game knowing we'd have to own space, but I think it was kind of both offensive crews were better there. But I thought offensively there should be a lot of confidence coming out of this football game. And, Dean's been great. He was nails today, and special teams was a little bit of a wash, but there's always going to be positives, right? And you got to kind of lean on them, and, remind ourselves that we did do some good things, all right, and make sure our guys understand that as well.
So, Coach, I'm looking at the net yards here, and it looks like Oregon had about 200 more yards than the Cougs. What is something moving forward that will, against other teams, help bring that closer and give us the advantage going forward?
I think the biggest thing is you're not going to win a lot of games giving up 600 yards of offense, okay? And it starts with me, right? And we're going to get this fixed. We're going to get it right. And we got to make plays when we have the opportunities, okay? Especially in the secondary. It's top down. It's everything. But I take responsibility for it. It wasn't good enough, and I'm going to make sure it gets fixed.